Good evening, this is Sarah Woodward. This is my course for EDT 6020. This is my LMS Schoology course. Now I'm not sure that I'm sharing the correct link, so I'm going to go into a lot of detail here. So the first thing is the structure of the unit. So I gave everything a separate folder. Most of the work is in here where it says lesson activities, but these were some assignments that we had to do for part of the other course. So starting from the bottom, we have some generic resources just that are good for the entire course. Resources generic to entire course, not lessons specific. Here was our first discussion board where the students had to create using Web 2.0 tool. They had to use Google Sheet to make introduction about themselves. This is where the chunk of information is. We have a syllabus, and then we have some kind of welcome and course overview. So this is where most of the stuff for this task is. So here we have within it, we have 4 different folders, and then we have the summative quiz at the end. Let's just go through it. So the first thing is the goal setting. So let's go to that. So that's under pre-assessment material. So the students are to take a pre-assessment. So that's one kind of open-ended pre-assessment that they do. And then they go back. Oh, that's cool. So then they have, these are kind of specific to the content they'll be learning. They're all short answer type questions. And then once they're completed with that, then the next thing that they would do is they complete a self-assessment questionnaire. So when they go to this should link to a solution video where I've answered every single question. This is a self-assessment for lessons 2. Well, let's just mute it. I've answered every single question for that pre-assessment, so they can go through and kind of see what the answers are. And once they have done that, then they can go to their questionnaire. This is something they would copy and paste, into their own Google Sheet and, share with me, write a performance goal for this task. So that's the goal setting part of it. Next thing is the assessment at the end, the next thing you wanted to check for. So if you go back to this, they have a must complete on the lesson 1 through 2 through quiz, right? So they have this, right? It's got all different types of questions in it, true, false, multiple choice. You can preview it, right, like that. Start an attempt. And here we go. This is it. Questions 1 through 6. Doesn't it look beautiful, right? Multiple choice. I really like this question. This is my favorite. Arrange the graphs from least correlation coefficient to greatest correlation coefficients. They really have to understand what correlation coefficient means, and it's not just slope. It's more than that. So I think that's real cool. That's a cool little task to do. And all right. So let's get back to that. Let's go back to where we leave this. Hopefully my computer can take it. All right. So back to this lesson 2, 1 through 2, 3 quiz. I don't know if this was supposed to set to completion. Let's just do that right now. Okay, that's done. All right. The next thing we have here is an individual assignment. So the individual assignment, just kind of looking at this. Well, the setup, you wanted to see that too. So the setup, pre-assessment materials. I chose to color code it by kind of like the resources are all in red. I think that was just easier, because then I can always just say to the kids it's in the red folder, what they're looking for. So here's the individual assignment. Here we go. Boom. This is it. So we have a link to screencast, a link to sketchboard. We have an example, a couple examples kind of done, and then we have the directions. So here are the directions. I think these are really cool. I like these a lot. So the individual activity. Make a how-to video. This is like something that's kind of like a review, so it's cool. It's kind of like one of the first things you're doing. Make a how-to video using sketchboard and screencast, the screencast-o-matic. So watch the videos provided an individual activity folder, resources folder. Use the guide below to develop your function, value, and expression for your how-to video. So your function is your birth month times x, right? X squared, okay, plus the last digit of your birth year, x plus your age, value, last digit of your phone number, okay, and the expression is the first digit of your home address times t, right? So here we go. So for example, if my birthday was April 20, 2003, and I'm 15 years old, my function would be 4x squared plus 3x for the 3 plus 15. I like this. This kind of like gives everyone something separate, and there's a good example. So I'll be using an online sketchboard and Screencast-O-Matic to make a screencast how-to video for evaluating your function, okay? For my given example from above, I would be presenting this function, and this is what I would be evaluating, f of 8 and f of 5t. Submit a link to your YouTube video and the assignment submission link in this folder. So the assignment submission link is here, and I try to call it that. Individual assignment, there we go, boom, assignment submissions. They would go to that to submit it. So that's my individual assignment. So here we have the learning modules. Next up, 3 instructional materials with student completion rules. So, I mean, I put student completion rules for everything. So they have must complete here, all within this folder. So everything's got a rule. We'll highlight that when we get to it. So group assignment. So the group assignment is right here, the group activity. This is really cool. So here we go. Boom. Let's open it up. So all these have rules. So I don't know what is happening because I did that already. So post a comment. Post a comment. All right, so here's the task. So the first thing they have to do is go to data collection and complete a row for each data set. So like they would have to come in here and tab a new row for this. So I have different data sets. So the number of open apps on your phone, your current battery life, just kind of 2 variable days, number of hours you sleep you got last night, hours of you spend at work each week, and they're going to take this data, and each group is going to have a different set, and they're going to make a scatter plot and find a linear model, find the correlation coefficient, find the residual, and do all kinds of neat stuff. So this is kind of like the first task the kids do. So they're using the Google Sheet 2.0 tool for all the students to access this and update it. That's kind of where I'm going to direct them first. And then go back here. Then they go, this is the instructions. So I'm a little like, I know I said all this to say, maybe I don't. Yeah, I know I did all this. So I don't know why it's not saving. Because then this isn't saved here. So I don't know why we can't do more than one. All right, so the next thing is the instructions. So here we go. Here it is. Let's make it happen. So here it is. Okay, so there's the instructions. Okay, so every person participates in data collection. The group will then complete the following tasks for their data set. So they have to create a Google slide that addresses the following: the names of each group member, the equation of your graph, scatter plots of your data. There's like all kinds of information in here that they have to put on their poster. They have to use your model to make a prediction to be considered interpolation, extrapolation, find the residual, and then write a couple sentences. Okay, your group's original Google slide is your product and will be graded. So the product is not the discussion board, but that's where they'll be submitting it. So this is what I put at the end. I said keep in mind while you're waiting for all your classmates to update the data collection, discuss and assign roles within your team. So these are the team roles I have. Task manager, everyone wants to be that. Make sure that the group is adhering to the timeline and working. Digital artist takes command of the overall layout of the presentation. Computer takes the lead on verifying that calculations are sound and correct. And the resource manager provides the group with the data and appropriate digital links to complete the task at hand. So those are the team roles that we had within the group assignment. That's it. All right, so let's see. Back to this. So this is where they submit their activity. So I use the same format we used in this class, where one person has to say the data set, and then everyone. So if they're in group 2, they have to comment on group 1 and group 3. Okay, from group 4, comment on 3 and 5. And I know, I think it's good to just lay this out for the kids on where they're supposed to comment stuff out. It kind of sets up that good structure for them. All right, what else do we need? Content-related discussion board. So this is a content-related discussion board, and it's not really. I have a better one. So I did another discussion board in the functions, right? This was my discussion board. So in this folder, they're learning this section, they learn 3 main topics that they already know. They learn about what is a function. They learn about how can I find the domain of a function, what are my 2 main constraints, and how can I find the domain and range from a graph. So in this folder, they have these resources, and they're all supposed to watch these resources. And I promise that I am saying that the members must view these, and it's kind of disappearing. So they're supposed to watch these videos, but I don't know why it's jumping from one to the other. Yeah, I don't know why. So anyway, so they would watch these videos here, and then they would go to the discussion board, and depending on who they are and what their name is, right, they would have a different part of the discussion board. So here's the discussion part thing. So it says do first, right, highlighted do first. So if their last name is A through G, they do this. If there's H through L, they do this, so on and so forth. And second, they want to comment with a wow, one thing you learned, and a wonder, a question you still have. Follow this model, right? I post about functions. I'll comment on domain and graph post. This, and then I'll comment on those 2. So they're kind of commenting on what they, didn't write about. So I think that's neat. Media, of course, contains a variety of, okay, so there's definitely video files in here, some that I created. Audio files, I had a hard time with math coming up with those. They don't really have many. Images, so you want to see an image? Let's look at an image. So when we did the test, right, I used images for some of the questions. I had to create some images there. The Web 2.0 tools, when they do the lesson activities in linear regression, this activity right here, this is a really cool one. This is an activity where they have to use the Desmos calculator to make a scatter plot, and then they are going to insert their image and their line of best fit here. So I think this is a really cool activity because they're using a Google Doc to put their image in, but they're getting the image from the Desmos calculator. So, right? So I think this is like real cool because they would first type in their equation, their table. So let's say they have like 3 and 10. And 2, and let's say like 2 and 4, right? So they have 2 points, and then they could say another and say I want an equation, type in y, right? And they could have a slider for M and a slider for B, and they use the slider to make their line of best fit. Trust me, the kids love this, right? And then they talk about like what type correlation it is, depending on how close they can get the lines to the center of the points. It's really neat. So this is cool. And then they could take like a screenshot and insert it into their thing. It's really cool. All right. So that's a neat activity. That's where they use a lot of those like 2.0 tools. Okay, writes clearly, concisely. I mean, you're going to have to look at that to see. I can't show that in a video. All right. So that's it. That's my stuff. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more that I did that's in here than this is showing, but it is what it is. Hope you're enjoying this. Have a good night. Bye.